So how do you measure how well an outsourcing relationship is going, and what do you do when you hit those bumps in the road, when those expectations aren't being met, on either side?
How do you know when you hit nirvana? How do you know when things are really good with a client? Um, and we are a service provider, so like any service provider in any industry in the world, be it supply chain or something else, there are bumps in the road, and there always will be bumps in the road, and that's what makes this profession very interesting for me. But the way I like to liken it, and the analogy I use is, you've got there. And again, the analogy I look at is, if we look at a conference room, and there's a table in that conference room, and there's four client representatives sitting around that table, and there's four provider representatives sitting around that table, and we're reviewing the last month or the last quarter, or perhaps it's a planning session. If I could go in there and I could tear the ceiling out of that conference room, and look down into that conference room and around that table, and I could quietly observe, and I could, visually look at that table and look at the interaction between that group of 8 individuals. You've hit it when you can't disseminate between the client and the provider, when they're truly operating as one, as a soul, operating that supply chain. I mean, that's when you've got there. And I know that sounds like a bit of a flippant answer to your question, but we have those relationships. And when you're sitting in that conference room, and you're sitting around the table, and you have that relationship, you know it. And it does feel very different. And there's no more them and us. You are together the operator of that supply chain. So for me, that's when you're hitting out of the park. You've hit a home run. That's absolutely nirvana. The other thing I'll say too is that in real estate they call it location, 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 and we often hear that term. And in our business, in supply chain, we like to call it culture, culture, culture. And to make the expectation piece work, if you have that strong cultural mesh, and I referred to that earlier, again, with so many of our clients, we have that strong cultural mesh. We work together very, very well. But to have that strong culture, and to have an open relationship, and a transparent relationship, and a strong communication plan, and to have that client accept you as one of their own, and we absolutely do have those scenarios. Again, you're hitting it. So that's all the good news. But you're right, Adrian. Occasionally there are some bumps in the road, and we do hit those bumps in the road. So what do you do when expectations aren't being met? I say to our people, I say to our building operators, that people that make this happen for our clients and make this happen for Legacy all day long, I say to them, hey guys, bad news does not get better with age. It just doesn't. So when there's a bump in the road, it's incumbent upon you to pick up that phone and call the client. Don't let it fester. Don't let it sit, because it's just going to make a bad situation worse. So that's, I think that's the first learnings I've had on expectations. But beyond that, we'll review scope together with the client. So there could be a scope change. There could be a new dimension to the business that we're not realizing. So it is about reviewing scope, and we'll do an expectation review occasionally with a client. So we'll do a quarterly review, and at that quarterly review, we'll ask the client, are we hitting expectations? Where am I off? Where do I have a flat spot in my tire? And 99% of the clients are willing to offer up where we need to pull our socks up. So that's great, and we appreciate those open conversations. But additionally, what we're finding now is that, again, the clients that are very good at outsourcing, have that outsourcing competency, will reverse that question back to us and say, well, hey, Mike, that's great, and here's what you need to do. But if we could ask you the same question, what is it, Mike, that we need to do better to be a better outsourcer, to continue to develop our competency with outsourcing? So we have some really interesting conversations, and when you get the client asking you, what can I do better for you, Mike? You're getting to a good spot. But it certainly helps. I think at the end of the day, as supply chain providers, we all face turbulent waters. That just comes with the territory, and it's how you embrace that. It's how you get through those turbulent waters and get to the other side to the smooth waters. And I'll tell you this, and it's a phenomenon that I do occasionally see, is to get into turbulent waters with a client because you're not hitting expectations, and to embrace that and to find your way out of that. Typically, what happens through that is your relationship strengthens. It's a chance for you as a provider to show your steel and show what you're made of. And we've been in a couple of tough spots, and we've always got out of it. And it does end up strengthening your relationship. So those not hitting expectations at times can be a good thing, a good test of the relationship.